So hey everybody, welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name is Nick Bryant and I'm very excited today because I'm on location, which is a new thing for me, and I'm on location at Loch Associates and I'm with Pam Loch. Hey Pam, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you.
It's great to see you.
So Pam has got a company called Loch Associates, which are an employment law firm. Although she's going to tell us a bit more about that. But to start off, she's going to tell us how she got into doing what she's doing. So take it away, Pam. Tell us how you got into where you are.
Oh, well, obviously you can tell from my accent, I'm not from Tunbridge Wells. So I originally did an accountancy and economics degree in Dundee University. Worked in as a pension specialist. Okay. It was obviously very exciting and thought actually there's even more exciting things out there and decided to become a lawyer. So I did a degree at Edinburgh University Law and then requalified as a lawyer, and I specialised in employment law in Scotland. And then just as a result of I moved down to England, I requalified in England. So I'm quite unusual in that I'm dual qualified. And I came over the border to work in Newcastle initially, and then gradually worked my way down the East Coast. So I dropped off in London, and I was a partner in some firms there. And then thought there's actually a really better way to work, because I think some law firms don't treat their staff well. Yeah. And I'd seen by working as a pensions specialist that actually there's some great things you can, ways you can treat staff. So actually what I wanted to do was surround myself with people that I liked working with, and actually treat them as best I could and actually look after my people. And so what we've done is actually evolved a business from an employment law firm to a business that's all about looking after your people, which is really important in the current climate.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it's not just an employment law firm, is it? There's a lot more to it than that.
There's a lot more to it than that, yes. So we do employment law, and we've won awards for the work that we do, and so we have specialists that do that. But we've also extended into more commercial law, because a lot of things that we get involved with, although they might start off with some employment element, they end up having maybe a corporate aspect to it as well. So, for example, we get involved in quite a lot of director disputes, or shareholder disputes, and you end up then advising somebody on the shareholder agreement, and usually saying to them, actually, you need to get a new shareholder agreement, so we will draft the shareholder agreement, and once we've got the issues resolved, they've maybe set up a new business and we'll do that for them. And in the meantime, if we are involved in a dispute, we're often involved in proceedings in court. So we do much more than just simply employment law. And I think a lot of people think employment law might be boring. It's not. No. You get to see some very fascinating scenarios. I can't tell you how many different situations I've been involved in, including things like mayonnaise jars. So yeah, that's maybe for another day. But we also have another side to the business, which is HR consultancy and wellbeing. And so we also have a team of HR consultants and nurses that work with us, and they provide a variety of services as well to help businesses from the point at which they're recruiting, starting up to being, a more mature business where they need support with disciplinaries, grievances. And we're often the in-house HR team, but effectively outsourced. So we partner up with a business to provide the HR services they need. Okay,
and I guess that works hand in hand with your solicitors, with the HR people working alongside them. They can bounce off each other. That must be advantageous for you and for your clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a one-stop shop. It means that if we've got a client that's got a redundancy scenario, and we can advise them on the strategy from a legal perspective, and then if they need the HR consultants to come in, they can come in and handle the whole process for them. Likewise, if they've got a TUPE where they're acquiring maybe a new business or a transfer of a contract, again, they can handle the whole thing. So it's seamless because we all work alongside each other. We're very team orientated, so we include everyone in training. So we work in a very consistent, similar way. And we're very much into the values that we all hold. So it's all about collaboration, accountability. So it's a great team of people that work well together and therefore deliver fantastic service for the client.
Yeah. And you're based here in Tunbridge Wells, but you've got other offices, I believe?
We do, yeah. So I originally set up in London on my own. So I was one of the original working from home people in my bedroom, and then I got an office up there, and then actually just as a result of domestic move ended up in Tunbridge Wells, which I'm really pleased about. So that was in 2007. And then we set up an office in Brighton in 2014, And we're also currently setting up in London as well.
Okay, and in your team, how many people are there?
We've got 25 people that we employ.
Okay.
We are recruiting.
Okay.
So we're still looking for marketing managers, HR consultants, and always looking for fantastic lawyers, either employment specialists or commercial specialists, or indeed dispute resolution. So, if anyone's looking for a job or thinking about moving, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, reach out right there. Yeah, sure. Earlier we were talking about the difficulty that some of your clients get into when they're employing freelancers. And that sort of arena. So tell us a bit about that.
Well, I mean, it's something that I've always been talking to clients about. And it sort of originally, I used to do quite a lot of work in TV and media. And there was often a lot of arrangements that I call the back of the fag packet.
Yeah, right.
And, and that worked well in that sector at that time. And I think there's a lot of people who have still taken that sort of view that it's a sort of loose arrangement, which is fine when everything's going well. But then when relationships break down, shall we say, it can get really messy. So I've had quite a few situations recently where clients have got themselves into situations where they're having to spend money with lawyers to get advice because they just haven't put the documentation in place. And the freelance person is saying, well, actually, I don't think I'm a freelancer. I'm not self-employed. I think I'm actually been employed or I've been a worker. And if they're a worker, they're entitled to get holidays and other statutory rights. They can actually claim that backwards as well. So you could be looking at quite significant back payments if somebody was found to be a worker. If they're employed, they get the similar rights, although they've got even more. And they've got then protection from being unfairly dismissed. So if you've ended the relationship and you haven't done it properly, then you're exposed to claims for unfair dismissal as well. So of course, when you think you've got a freelancer and you treat them as a freelancer, but actually ultimately, retrospectively, someone turns around and says, well, actually, like a tribunal judge says, well, they were a worker or an employee, you're in a situation where you could be facing quite significant awards. So, we're trying to get the message out to people. If you engage freelancers, make sure you got your documentation right.
Okay.
And it doesn't take much. It doesn't cost a lot. It's well worth investing the money now to save you the hassle and the pain and potentially higher costs later on.
Yeah, I was just going to ask what's your advice on that, but obviously there's a documentation that they can fill out, come to you, make sure that everything's in place for them going forward. Yeah,
and the other thing is we can also give advice on how they should be treating the freelancer.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's not just simply having a written agreement. That's absolutely critical.
Yeah.
You need to have the written agreement and it needs to have certain wording in there to protect you. But also it's really important on a day-to-day basis that you treat freelancers in a particular way. Okay. So we've got some do's and don'ts, which, if anybody's listening and wants to find out more about, then get in touch. I'll be happy to give them it. But yeah, it's really important. It's a sort of a holistic approach as opposed to just get your documentation in order. But you've definitely got to get the documentation sorted out.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I guess that sort of moves on to the next topic, which what we wanted to talk about was retaining your staff and in recruitment and making sure that everything is all lined up so that you're providing as a good employer.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it's a really challenging recruitment market out there. It's really tough to find the right people. It's also very difficult retaining your staff because in a competitive recruitment market, they're getting contacted, by headhunters. Yeah. They're seeing other businesses advertising, other businesses are reviewing their packages. We're doing quite a lot of benchmarking for clients to make sure that they're, competitive, so they retain their staff. We're also advising clients on what they can do to look after the staff and retain them. It's not just about salary, but that is important. We did a recent poll and, for younger staff, what attracts them to a business is, in the main, working conditions. It was a 60-40 split between working conditions and salary.
Oh, really? Oh, right.
So working conditions are really important, and that means looking at not just whether you've got nice office space, which is important as well, but it's also about how you treat your staff, the values that you hold, not just having the values set out, but actually living them. And I think it's important to look at your business and think about actually how do you treat your staff, how do you promote yourself, because that will attract other people to join you because they'll look at you and think this is a nice business to be with, I want to be there. So we have been doing quite a lot of work with clients on retaining staff. We're doing quite a lot internally ourselves, just to make sure that we don't lose really great staff. But in terms of recruiting staff, again, it's important that you are exuding the right image, but that you don't just exude the image, that you live the image as well.
Yes.
Because there's no point in saying you do something, they come on board and they think this isn't what you said you did. So it's important that, first of all, you identify you've got the right person or the right job. You know what job you're trying to fill, and then you try to fill it in the right way. So we're involved in doing quite a lot of recruitment through the HR consultancy side for our clients as well.
Right.
So what we've developed is a recruitment and retention package, because we want to help you recruit the right person, but we also want you to keep them.
Yeah.
Because, I've heard horror stories of people turning up and, finding out they hate the place and they walk out, within, sometimes on the first day.
Really? Yeah.
You can spend a lot of time and sometimes a lot of money if you use recruitment agents that are charging quite significant percentages of salary. You don't want to lose somebody immediately.
No.
I mean, I know you can get a refund of your costs, but at the same time, you spent quite a lot of time finding them.
Yeah.
And it's not great for morale in the business either. So it's really important that it's not just about the recruitment, it's about retaining them. So looking at your HR support, making sure that you've got, buddying systems put in place, mentoring, and that you actually look after your staff once they join and review how they're doing and support them.
And it's getting it right from the start, isn't it? I guess making sure all the handbooks are in place, all the procedures in place.
Yeah.
So moving forward, and there's no holes in the system.
Yeah, I mean, most people do definitely look at handbooks now and look at policies. It's the first thing people do, because they'll usually look at the policy and then come to you and say, oh, but the policy says this. And it's so, I think it's even, there's a number of things that businesses could be doing. One of them is also training their staff, making sure their managers understand what the policy say as well. So that everybody's clear about how you operate. And as a result, you'll end up having a business where people are hopefully very happy because they understand what's expected from them, and they know how you operate because your policies are clear.
Yeah, and it has a knock-on effect. So other people are going to come along, people are going to talk about the business, what a great company they are to work for, and that sort of stuff, which is good. Do you so the sort of clients that you do look after, are they nationwide? Do you go out of the UK? Is it all local, or Southeast, or how does that work? We
have clients throughout the UK, but we actually also have clients that are the principal base is maybe Australia or in the European Union or in America, and they've got operations in the UK, and we manage their HR function for them in the UK. Sometimes we have clients that are going over that have got staff that have moved overseas.
Okay.
So we're advising on how to then deal with that situation as well. And we've had to deal with that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's been quite a number of people who have decided as a result of COVID to move and work from home, but in somewhere like Portugal.
Wow.
Or in some cases New Zealand.
Yeah, right.
So we're advising on how to deal with those situations as well.
Because when we met last time, we were talking about the Zoom environment now for working that a lot of people seem to be preferring. However, we were also speaking that can cause difficulties within a business because you can't really see if someone how they're feeling through Zoom. If you're having a meeting, maybe they've got an HR problem or they've got something that's on their mind. You're never going to get that over Zoom. So that's something you have to deal with as well, really, and advising businesses on that approach.
We do, yes. I mean, I think there's definitely some, there's no doubt there's some people that are going to continue to work from home.
Yeah, sure.
And there are people that are work from home on a permanent basis. But I think one of the challenges that I certainly found when people were working from home was being able to pick up on a vibe that, somebody is feeling a bit stressed out.
Yeah.
And, people aren't necessarily going to pick up the phone to say to you,
Absolutely.
This is how I'm feeling. So, we've been doing training for managers to help them be able to manage that situation, identify when someone is feeling stressed, what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is the wellbeing side. So what we've also been offering clients is the ability to have check-ins that are carried out by our HR medical specialists who can then, establish whether somebody is doing okay, they're feeling well. And it's a welfare check-in, but it's an opportunity to talk to somebody who's not your manager. And as a result of doing that, you might actually find that there's information comes out about perhaps stuff that's going on in their personal life that may be affecting their performance, but you weren't aware of it because you're not seeing them in the office. So, I mean, that sort of chiller chat, or cooler chat, as we call it as well, that sometimes is missing when you're not, in the office. And I think, it's really important to find a way to try and find a mechanism to replicate that if possible. If somebody's working from home.
Yeah, it's really important. Really important. So, what does the future hold? What plans have you got? More growth, I would have thought.
Well, I think definitely. I mean, we continue to innovate. We have brought, in the past, we've developed some innovative services for clients because we see things that are happening, or we anticipate trends, and we're trying to act upon them so we can deliver a great service to clients and continue to provide this one-stop shop. So we have some exciting plans that I can't divulge at the moment in terms of innovations, but also, yes, we continue to expand, but we have to expand around the right people, because people are our business, is our strapline, but it's also what I do genuinely believe. We want to work with great people in a team and enjoy working together, and that means that we have to find the right fit. So for me, it's about recruiting the right people, but it's also about continuing to develop business so they can all benefit and we can continue to have fun, because I think it's really important to have fun at work.
Yes.
We spend so much time together.
Yeah.
You've got to have some fun at work. So we have got some exciting plans for that as well in terms of internally what we're doing.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Pam. That's been great. It's been a great insight into what you do and how it all started. If anyone has any requirements for either employment law, wellbeing, HR, then please get in touch with Pam. All her details are on the Brilliant Businesses website. And so thanks, Pam. Thank you for welcoming me in here, and thank you for joining me on the podcast. It's good to see you.
It's great to be with you. Thank you.
And we'll catch you for another podcast soon. Thanks very much.